We are the learners and makers. We've been on an epic road trip with our family of 4 and our pop-up trailer. So far, we've made it across Oregon, cooled off in Boise, and had a full drive of surprises across Idaho. We are finally camping and discovered cool caves, turquoise lakes, and desert views.
As our trip got into its first camping portion, I got to think about all the ways that serendipity comes into travel.
We knew going into this that we might want to explore Minnetonka Cave. We'd seen it as a possibility, a place that we might want to go. But when we were driving around, starting to look for it, we saw a sign that had an arrow and it said Ice Cave. And yeah, part of us was like, is that it? You know, is that where we need to go? Knowing probably not, but why not just follow the sign and see what happens?
When it's a hot day in June and you see a sign that says Ice Cave.
Please.
How do you refuse?
And I honestly thought, it's an ice cave in all the other seasons except for right now. It's incredibly hot right now. Like, how could there possibly be ice? No. Yeah.
But lo and behold.
Yeah, we didn't even go into the ground very far. Like, you could be standing on the ice and looking out of this cave.
Yeah.
And
summer. Summer in one direction, winter in another.
Oh, it felt so good.
What was it Connor liked to say? This is cool, Daddy, in both meanings of the word.
It was a nice little appetizer because then we did go do Minnetonka Cave.
Yeah.
And
what was it, the largest known limestone cave in Idaho?
Yeah, and it was really great. We haven't done any cave exploration with the kids yet.
No.
And we've read about and studied what stalactites are and stalagmites and how things are formed and everything. But seeing the cave formations in person was fantastic. And there were just so many little serendipitous things about going down there. We did manage to catch a little bat flying around.
Our guide said we were really lucky to have seen that.
Yeah, and we ended up in a really small group for the tour, which was just luck. And because of that, I just felt free to go the speed I needed to go because it was a lot of steps. And
some of it could be pretty slippery.
Ready? Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I have a little
It's hard to believe because it's always 40. Exactly 40.
it wasn't even, it wasn't like normal steps. It was a lot of steps and hand carved out of stone, kind of slippery, wet, living cave steps. So we just took our time.
Mm-hmm.
The kids felt like they could ask whatever questions, which were plentiful.
I wish I had kept a tally of how many questions Connor asked. So, boy, he was asking some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It was really special to me as well because coming from the East Coast, and I've been in some of the caves in Virginia. There is a cave I used to go to in Tennessee a fair bit and actually romp around in there properly. But I hadn't done much of that in a long time, so getting to go into one with my family was really special and just reminded me of how fascinating it is to be in such a different type of environment from what you get on the surface.
Hello, sir. What is your name? Where do you come from? And what is your age?
My name is Anthony St. Clair. I'm 43 years old. I'm originally from Roanoke, Virginia, but for over 20 years, my home has been Eugene, Oregon.
Alrighty then. What do you think that blob up in that hill is? A monster? A tree? A goat? A sheep? Or a large rock?
Oh, well, obviously that's the mythical tree goat of Wyoming. To some eyes by day, they look like trees, but as the sun goes down, they awaken and turn into goats, and then they dance around the hillside. And you can hear them going, "Ma tree, all night long. And then when the sun comes up, they turn back into trees. And that's why every day the trees on the hill look like they're in a totally different place.
What do you think they will do?
I think they'll run down the hill and headbutt you in the bum.
Ouch!
How we planned this trip was we looked at a map and said, oh, look, there's a big body of water right there. Let's check that out. And so, and then, would go into kind of researching because we knew we had our Sea Eagle kayaks. We knew we wanted to utilize them as much as we possibly could and have that as an option wherever we went. And what drew us to this area was Bear Lake. We had seen it on the map, and then when we looked it up, it is this gorgeous turquoise blue lake. Like clear water. It looks like the ocean.
Yeah.
It is so cool and unique, and it's huge. And so that's why we decided to camp in this area. And we spent a day at Bear Lake. The kids had so much fun. It's very shallow, so it's easy to splash and swim for any age. Sometimes you get someplace and it's a little disappointing. Sometimes you get someplace and it's beyond what you expected. And I would say this was everything we expected and more.
Don't be surprised if Connor wants to be your motor for a little bit. Hey, Aster. Well done.
Do a little jump.
Happy paddling, my love. One of the things about the pandemic is that it affects everything in so many ways, and some of them you don't even realize for a while. One for us is prior to the pandemic, we had been getting Aster in the water a lot. She was starting to transition away from having a little floaty. She was interested in learning to swim. But then for basically like a year plus, she was hardly in any sort of water.
Yeah, and we've tried to do swimming just out in lakes and in natural bodies of water. But it's just usually easier to kind of just stay splashy and not like as submerged, and it's just harder to get to that point because you can't see the bottom always and all of that. So we have been like swimming quite a bit. There's something about the ease of being in a swimming pool that makes it easier to learn how to swim.
But I think that we definitely had not fully realized how much Aster had kind of lost with the progress she'd made trying to learn to swim. So when we were at Bear Lake, she started getting out in the water a little more, and she'd splash around more, and she'd see what we were doing and what Connor was doing. And you could see this determination reignite in her. And she started getting around the water more. She would try more things out. And then later, after this, we went to go get ice cream. And she's like, Mama, Daddy, I'm going to learn to swim. Aster, can you swim to me? You getting there?
You're going to learn to swim this summer, little. All right.
I did it! I did it!
So, what is your name? Where do you come from? And what is your age?
I am 6. My name is Aster, and I come from Oregon.
Do you think that big splotch up there, the hill, is a monster, sheep, goat, tree, or large rock?
Monster.
What do you think it'll do?
Devour everything in its path.
Sounds scary. I like it.
So as we were looking at where in Wyoming do we want to stop, put our finger on the atlas again and notice this big body of water in the southwestern part of the state called Flaming Gorge. Now, how do you say no to that?
I think if Bear Lake exceeded our expectations, this like wildly beyond our dreams exceeded our expectations. And we went there thinking we would kayak and ended up not kayaking at all.
Very deliberately.
Because we were just so taken with the desert scenery.
We've stayed in some pretty places. We have seen so many beautiful things in this world. And this particular campground, Firehole Canyon, we had looked at some photos of it, but when you are there, you are surrounded by these rocks, and there is just so much awe in this stark, lush landscape.
Hello, ma'am. What is your name? Where do you come from? And what is your age?
My name is Jody St. Clair,
Jody St. Clair.
and I'm 39, and I come from Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon.
What do you think that blob up there on the hill is? A tree? A monster? A goat? A sheep? Or a large rock?
I think it's an elephant.
Okay. What do you think it'll do?
Elephant.
I think it's going to spray water all over the hill.
Water.
Wow, that would be quite a spout.
And I will say too that this is where we saw the most wildlife. I mean, we saw you'd think the desert, you wouldn't see that much.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing how many little critters were around this campsite. Yeah.
Around this campsite than ever before. So we ended up spending a lot of time just at our campsite because we just loved it so much. And we could just enjoy taking in these expansive views and the sagebrush and all of the wildlife and the whole deal.
Well, sometimes where you're staying just turns out to be a destination in and of itself and not just a place to lay your head. And I think that's what we noticed. It's like, oh, this is really beautiful. We can just relax. There's this calm, this sort of desert landscape. And if, tell us in the comments if, you like to camp in the desert or whatnot. But it was so relaxing and meditative and serene. It's like, we don't really need to do much or go far. We have so much of what we need and want right here, right now, and we're going to enjoy it.
The tall spires are the hard cores that are in the middle of them. The rest has eroded away around them. So they're left. Beginning to happen. The hills are turning orange and red. It'll be like they're on fire. Fire, I tell you.
I've never seen anything like this before. Yep, there you go.
Who are you? What is your age and where do you come from?
My name is Connor Everett St. Clair. I come from Eugene, Oregon, and my age is 9 years old.
What do you think that large up on that hill is? A monster, a rock, a tree, a goat, or a sheep?
Well, since it's moving, I'd say monster.
Scary. I like it.
What do you think it would do?
What do you think it will do?
I think that it will return to its meteorite home in space and conspire evil plans against different planets.
Our summer road trip adventures continue. We can't wait to see you in our next video. Follow our everyday adventures on Instagram at Learners and Makers. You can also find more in-depth discussion of our trips and destinations and lots of other things about family travel at learnersandmakers.com. And on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ding that bell so you get notified whenever we release a new video. We will see you next time.
Bye. We are finally camping on our trip.
Looking for a cactus. This is our hide because I need to go really far to find them.
Aha! Here's one. Don't step in it. It's painful.
Okay, you turn it off. You have another question?